Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for joining me once again in Unreal Engine 5. Today we're going to talk about MetaSounds. MetaSounds is a big part of the engine that I have been sleeping on for a little bit. I knew it was capable, but I had no idea until I started doing some reading, some learning, some tutorials, etc. What I have on screen is looks like a blueprint, and it kind of is, but it functions a little bit differently. It's not an execution graph; it's a bit of a flow graph. So if you're an audio guy or familiar with synthesizers and stuff, all of this is synthesized. None of it is pre-recorded waves. So why don't I just be quiet for a second and show you what it sounds like. Okay, and since it's randomly generated or procedurally generated, let me play it for you one more time. It should sound different. And a third time just to drive the point home. Okay, and I have all of these parameters over here. This is like a preset. It's kind of like a material instance. It's a preset or an instance of this big file. This would be like a master material. This would be the instance that you would use in your game, and you can still tweak all of these parameters. So the one that I would tweak the most, maybe, I'm considering using this in my game, is choosing specific seeds instead of random ones, playing them out, see how they sound, and then cycling through some of my favorite seeds at different intervals. Instead of just random all the time. Let me show you. I think 10 sounded interesting. I'll switch to 15. And back to 10. I think that's how I would approach using a procedurally generated piece of music like this, is playing with the seeds and kind of going back and forth between ones I liked. So that's kind of where I got to. Let me back up and show you the beginnings of it. So like materials, they have this is like a master material. This is like an instance. And then they have like these components that you can bring in. I'm not sure where the analogy is for materials, but see, this is called MSP kick drum. So it's a meta sound patch. So patches are pretty useful. Let me double click this and it opens up another graph. It's kind of like a function. I guess patches are like functions that you can use in different meta sound sources. So this kick drum, there is no play or stop up here on the top. You can't play it. But it is a reusable patch. So let's make a drum kit together. So we have sound patches, and we have MetaSound sources, and then presets. So the source is like a master material. Let's create a new one. Audio MetaSound source. Okay, so I'm going to do MS drum kit. Double click it, and now you see you've got a play and then these two outputs over here. This one with the warning is for one shots. If you have a sound effect like a bounce or a gunshot or whatever, you would be using this on finished node. If you're making music like I am, I'm just going to make a drum kit. I'm going to get rid of it. So over here in the interfaces, you've got the one shot. Just delete that. So very simply, if I search for MSP, those are my patches. I've got a whole bunch already made here. Let's bring in our kick drum and just play the kick drum, see how it sounds. It's going to hit once. If we want to hear it a little bit more than once, we can put in a trigger repeat. That's going to, this trigger happens once, so it's going to take that trigger and then loop it over and over at a period that we specify. So we can promote that to a graph input if we wanted, so that we can play with it. And what I tend to do a lot is, let me delete this. So I'll come off of here and go BPM to seconds. And then we can work with something we're a little more familiar with, BPMs. There's a beat multiplier and divisions of a whole. So let's promote this one. And let's hear it. I'm going to change the min-max range here. You can do this live. So it's just using this patch and sending a trigger signal here, and it's taking the output there. So how did we make a kick drum? Well, I would encourage you to pause this, copy all of it, play with the numbers, see what happens, because it's a little bit technical, but it is based off of a triangle wave and some noise and a bunch of filters, or envelopes, I should say. This is something you're just going to have to experiment with, making your own sounds. But I just wanted to show you an example of a kick drum there. Why don't we introduce the other drums as well? We have MSP snare and MSP hi-hat. We'll make a mono mixer times 3. Then just take the output of that one. And what we could do is we could do other trigger repeats and then use those to drive these ones as well, but we can also do what's nice is a counter. So we could say let's put this control click, put it down on reset. So this trigger counter is going to take the pulse and it's going to count up, and then once it hits 4, it's going to trigger this reset, and it's going to start back from 0 again and count up to 4. So that's one way you can get simple beat choices. Let me duplicate it. And we'll do that one every 2. Oopsie, what am I doing? And this one will go every 1. So I'll save it and see what that sounds like. Oh, maybe put some gain knobs here. Promoting to graph input, and you can rename them down here. What's this one? This one's the hi-hat, so let's go name it mix hi-hat. This one is snare. And this one is kick. Save it, play it. So we made a very simple, very standard beat. But just like that, pretty simple. And if you wanted, you could put some reverb or some other effects on here. They have one type in here, but I think you can make your own even. We'll just put it in twice. Oh, also, if you go up to source, Metasound, you can change a few things, not a lot, but you can change it from mono to stereo. Now we have an output right popped up. And you can play around with all the reverb settings. I'll put a dry amount in there. And let's see how that sounds. Just like all the volume knobs before, you can play with these. Let's hit play. That's probably better. Instead of like and you know all of these other things here. So you can imagine the possibilities. If you had pre-recorded things, you can use a wave player. They have all the different kinds, the mono, stereo, quad, etc. And say, I think I have a few wave files in here. Let's see. Sounds. It's under sounds. Okay, so let me just demo this. This is a sound effect I downloaded from freesounds.org, which is a nice source for your sound effects if you need them. I made a looping version of this. I believe it loops. Anyway, drag and drop it. No, that doesn't work. Oh, because it's a meta-sound source. I'm already using the wave players in this example. I suppose I'm not using a pitch or a tempo, but I am using a pitch shift. Let's see how that works. Could use that for like how fast it's going, perhaps, combined with getting it a little bit louder. And that's the pitch shift for this, what's it called, heavy ball. Let me name this so I know what it is. And this one is mixer light. Let's do that again. So I got one wave player down here doing that, and I've got another wave player up here doing this. So you can play with the, I think if you hover over these cables you get a little wave pattern. That's pretty cool. Just the pink ones. So you can imagine using something like this as a sound effect in game. You can, all of these exposed parameters here are, what's the word I'm looking for? Accessible through any blueprint in the game. So if I had, let me play my game real quick here. So I've got music right now. I shall pause it. But you could imagine that rolling sound effect or a bounce sound effect playing whenever I'm rolling around or bounce into something. So why don't we try to do that real quick. Let me get my main player. There's already a lot going on. let's figure out how we want to do this. We're gonna need a audio component, so we can start there. Just put it right on the guy. And what's the easiest? I'm gonna do impacts. I have on hit here somewhere. Down here. Nope. It's part of the jump. Here it is. So on hit, I also want to play a sound effect. Maybe I do a do once. Well, let's leave that out for now. But I have a feeling we're going to have to do that or something like that. Let's say play sound 2D. And I can grab my kick drum. My sound sources, patches here. Oh, you know what? I don't know if patches don't work. Let me demonstrate. For the kick. So if I try to grab, put it on here, it's not going to work. A sound source will, though. So let me make a sound source of just this drum kick. I'll call it like impact. Ball impact. And I do want to use this time. Use a kick drum. And then I think I need to create an unfinished. I wonder what happens if I just do this. And then go here. Drag my MetaSound source of ball impact. Drop it there. I think that's done. This thing here helps with memory allocation. It will just delete it from the audio renderer as a voice. Just not sure I set that up right. So let's test it. I should hear a kick drum every time my ball hits something, which is kind of insane. I won't leave it like that, but let's just test it. Yeah, that's insane. I wonder how we would improve it with a delay of sorts. Let's see if that's enough. No. Okay, all right. We're gonna do kick drum. Let's add the interface, I guess. One shot. And then unfinished, we can pull that out here. And trigger it there. That didn't seem to work. Okay, just had to save it. Okay, so I think the sound itself will have improved. No. There, that's why. So let's test the sound once more. No, it still sounds like a boop. sound. So it's making little sounds, but they're like kind of tiny and pathetic. Wonder why that is. Let's listen to the kick drum again. Just listen to the kick drum. And back to the kick drum on trigger. Let's do it on done. Yeah. Hopefully that helps. Let's see. Yeah, it did. Not that I want to keep this sound, but it is a demonstration of let's see if we can just hear it better this way. Okay, well, that's not perfect. But, like I said, just an example of how you might want to integrate some of the sounds you make with your game. Let me get out of here. So, kind of demoing this and music, I'm going to replace all my music with procedurally generated ones so that when you come here and you hit change music, it doesn't cycle to a new song, it just resets the seed, perhaps. Yeah, lots of things you can do. Why don't I, to close this out, just play my song one more time. We'll pick a random seed I haven't listened to yet. 50. Let's see. Peace, guys. See you next time.